Good morning, good morning, good morning. Boys and girls, I feel so good. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. It is 4:13 a.m. and I just got out of a nice hot bath. Oh, but oh, I was so tired. But you know what, boys and girls? If y'all would have saw me yesterday, y'all would have been crying. I fell outside on the passenger side of the car, splat right on the ground. But boy, my arm and everything is hurting. My hands. I landed on my knees and in this hand right here. Ugh. But I'm okay. It felt like the whole body was broke. I knew I was gonna have Epsom salt, but you know what I did? I came home and I was so discombobulated. I laid across that bed and I was out. I don't know what time I woke up. I've been up like more than 2 hours now. But oh, I tell you, don't lie, it is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I tell you. But and I have no complaints. I went to the laundromat right across the hall from my door, and I was struggling to get in the key. And this man looked at me, and I said, "Can you open the door?" He looked right at his machine, honey. He was like, "Get in, you get in how you fit in." So I tried again. I tried like 3 times, and then I got in. And then someone else came behind me, and he said hello. I said hello. I grabbed my laundry out that wash machine, came up in this piece here, hung my clothes up, all around bathroom, everywhere. I said, yes, I did. And then I came in here and I did the rest of my stuff. Boys and girls, this rug is going down today. Look behind me. I was realizing that since I didn't have a washer, I have a whole closet. So I moved most of the craft stuff in the closet so I can put the shelves and stuff up. So it is what it is. You're gonna see 2 videos. Yesterday I couldn't upload for some reason. I don't know. But it would be nice if you could tell me if you can hear me because you already know I'm not gonna be up in here screaming. Now I have never heard anyone over there, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yesterday I went to the lobby and there were 3 children in the lobby and I saw them. I did not hear them. I said, Amen. Peaceville Lane, I have arrived. Boys and girls, I tell you now, life is worth living, honey. I um I passed a bank where I would be able to walk if I at least try to walk to. And then I came home and a few minutes ago I went to search to see if I could work on, joining the bank. And it said that they have overdraft protection. They will only give you 3 late fees a day at 35 cents at $35 a piece. I said, click right over there on it. No, I don't play that game. No, that would be Embarrassville Lane. Embarrassville Lane. No, 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 no. Mm, I am so freaking happy. That's all I can say. I am so freaking happy. But I could use a little lotion on my arm. I put some lotion on, but my finger feel a little dry. Like that's because I fell on my hand. But I'm just gonna put some of this whatever lip gloss on it. hmm You know what they say, multitask. hmm Oh, that feels nice. Ooh, yeah. I like that. Oh, mm. I actually do not want to go back outside, but I may have to, but I'm gonna try not to. When I woke up, it was freezing in here, and I was almost afraid to get in the bathtub. And I'm gonna have to possibly go downstairs and see, how to work this thing, but I kind of don't want to. I just want to leave it alone. But it's definitely not on. I don't know how to work the heat. I don't know how to work nothing. But I turned the fan on yesterday and opened up the window. It was so nice. Oh my goodness, it was so nice. But my back is coming. Ugh. My back is killing me, but not enough to, like me to be in a hospital or something. My daughter pulled up at the emergency room after I fell. She said, "Mommy, you hurt?" I said, "I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the hospital." So they'll take me back home, honey. I got my bathtub, but I landed on this hand and I'm having shocking pains, throughout this right here and then this right here. So, but I still can move it. So we gonna let Epsom salt do its magic. I do know I have a health clinic up the block somewhere. So what I want to do today is take a walk, and see if I can find, you know, a health clinic. So I'm gonna check the weather, sometime. But if I'm up now, 9 times out of 10, I'll be knocked out in a couple hours. So it is what it is. But I'm a little cold, and then I'm gonna get hot. Boys and girls, I said I still can't get on Facebook. Only on my computer. I just got on my password. I don't know why it's not working, but it is what it is. I would love my sardines. I can't find them. I cannot find them. My sardines are hard to come by, honey. Hard to come by. Oof. But I didn't realize something until the middle of the night. I had coffee yesterday without coffee creamer. I'm like, oh, I like that oatmeal. So I'm gonna try my new coffee maker. Oh, I thank you, Tina. I'm gonna try to think. My daughter said yesterday. She said, "You got a coffee maker?" I said, "Yes," but see, she was on the phone when I went downstairs to get it. And then the coffee maker, she said, "Can I open it?" I said, "Yes, you can." So she opened it. She said, "Oh, it's gonna go right here." Go ahead and do your thing, girl. Let her put the thing up. Then she said, "Mommy, do they know my birthday is coming up? Cause I like it stuff too." I said, "Sweetie, it doesn't work like that." She had me cracking up. She had me cracking up. And I was in here sitting down. Oh my goodness. I wish I could show y'all Miranda right now. She was on the bed playing with Miranda. She said, "Mommy, how much did you pay for her?" And I said to her, whatever the case may be. And then she said, "Mommy, you think I can get one?" I said, "Baby, it don't work like that." I said, "But stay still. Mommy will work something out." But she dressed my Miranda like a little boy. I said, "Oh my goodness." And I heard her say something about a little boy, but I'm gonna look on Temu and see. But I'm kind of worried because I don't believe Temu's gonna send. She's looking for the weight of that baby doll and stuff. I'm gonna look on Temu and see what I can find. I really wish I didn't have to do that, but I have to. And her birthday is May 12th, so I really wish I was able to. I kid you not. Time flies so fast, so fast. Oh my goodness. Yesterday she kept hugging me. I kept hugging her, and it was just amazing. But I told her, I said, "Baby, you have to go home." Yesterday she was going home. I was coming home alone yesterday. It would have been my first time driving here. And then I fell, and oh my goodness, when she went to pick me up, It was so hard for me to get off that ground that when I grabbed her, she fell backwards. And when I say that, when I don't care how old your children get, you do not want to see your children cry. And all I could do is cry, and I'm on the side of the street with traffic, so I'm like, oh my God, if somebody just turn this corner. But you know what? Sometimes you should stay home. But see, she wanted to go outside. You know, Grandma, we gonna come see you. But I told my daughter, I said, baby, we're not as close as we used to be. And I said, that gas station is definitely not my friend. I absolutely filled up last night to come home. And then to go to Walmart, I filled up again. But yesterday, that gas, I put 15 in the gas tank. She said, Mommy, where is the gas? I said, baby, this is not going to be something that you think you can't understand. This is expensive. She said, but Mommy, it's $5. I said, honey, I've been telling you, times are changing. I said, that's why you're going to have to figure it out. And that girl is so afraid to leave me in this house. And I told her, baby, I understand. Trust me, I understand. But if she could see what happens when she's not here, but I won't let her see that. No, she has to go home. I told her I'm not. But what I asked her to do, oh, never mind, I can't do that. I'm going to see somehow if she can get closer to me because I kid you not, that girl has been fighting for years because she just wanted to take care of her mother. That's it. And I tell you one thing, honey, as God is my witness, I am not going to fight my child no more. That fish she made yesterday, I was so scared to eat that fish. And then when she when she went to take the bones out, all I saw was fingernails. But I know her hands stay in water. I know she love it for herself, but it doesn't matter. I saw the nail on her bone. I said, that. And she stopped. I think she picked it up on it. But it was so nice to have, a meal that. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards asking her if she could, just go to the supermarket for me. But I don't feel like doing that. And if I sit here and try to find something, it's definitely not going to be anything she would eat. But she has her own home and her own care, if you understand what I mean. So I don't have to worry about that. But I am very shocked that I was able to drink coffee without creamer. Are you seriously telling me that my body is adjusting like that? Wow. And I am so thankful because that creamer is $3 and change, and it was a priority for me because I thought I needed flavor. But I absolutely tasted the coffee, and I didn't mind it. I just really wanted some brewed coffee, and I am waiting for daylight hours because I don't want to be moving and shaking around here at night. But it is what it is. I'm gonna sit right here in this room, in this chair, doing nothing, nothing. But I am so happy. Oh my goodness. I was driving down the street and it didn't even dawn on me. Now, I'm not saying that they don't do it, but I did not hear a one car radio blasting all hours of the night. I'm like, wow. And I hate to say it. Oh man, because my daughter doesn't like the way I talk on this channel. She said, Mommy, you tell too much. But I saw a little water flowing. Where was it? Can somebody tell me if they heard that? That's all I need to know. Because oh my goodness. I am on the top floor and I heard footsteps above me. So I'm like, and I'm on the top floor. Now, whatever that was, I heard was above me. But I have reason to believe that this building has 24-hour security. I really do. It's too, no. Let me tell you, when I first got here, um, I was paranoid because everywhere you go, you need a key. So, it was what it was. But now I'm learning to use the key, and I'm going through the building. Yesterday, when the coffee maker arrived, I saw it was outside the building at 4 something in the morning. I went downstairs. It was by the mailbox, and the package was still there. But yesterday, a package I ordered uh, last month, I asked them not for it not to be delivered until I knew I could secure the address. And then she said I mailed it and it arrived yesterday. And I went downstairs. I'm like, I don't see any box here. And then she was like, it came. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know how much the box cost me, but let's just say 135. Could have been, a little bit more, but I really think it was. But let's just say 135. I don't want that package stolen. So this morning I checked and there's a message that it will arrive today. And I'm saying to myself, where is the tracking number? But it is what it is. I don't even see my wheel card, and I need to get that. I can't carry that package up here by myself. Absolutely not. I feel so safe. I can't believe that the words that I have been looking for, the peace, the tranquility. And someone said to me, how did you find that place? I said, I didn't. My caseworker did. And now I don't believe she's my worker anymore, but I cannot, I am only hoping that she can give me one more phone call so I can tell her how thankful I am. And when she became my worker, she would come, um, even though she wouldn't come upstairs, she would come to the lobby and she would see me. And I told her that made a difference because all the other workers I worked with, I didn't see them. I never got to identify them, so I felt like I was just a number. You just tick in a box. But this one would drive. She was like, I don't know if I'm at the car today, but I'm going to see if I can stop by for a few minutes. And she would come to lobby. And I'm like, those little things matter. You know, Yesterday I talked to a friend of mine. We moved in around the same time, and y'all know what happened to her. And I don't mean to be discussing people and making people feel bad, but there's no reason to feel bad. It's just a part of life that everyone goes through. But this girl cannot stop crying. And as much as I've been crying all these years, to hear her like that is horrible. And now I'm saying to myself, I understand how people felt hearing me cry. But she's like, I never thought I would ever end up like this. You don't, nobody knows if they'll end up like this. And now to be going down to the food stamp office and stuff like, you don't know when, what, how, nothing. The only thing you know is everybody can end up there. And I kid you not, all she can do is cry. I cannot even explain to you how that feels. But I told her the only thing you can do now is just be quiet because your daughter is just making sure you're okay. And she feels like a burden. She doesn't, and I understand everything. And I told her I'm not trying to hear none of that. I said, you need to stay still and listen. She said, but it just so happens, and I kid you not, it just so happens that sometimes people have a funny way of believing whatever the hell they believe in. Everybody has their own right, and I will never take that from a person. But she said to me, she said she was talking to a friend, and she said she doesn't know how I ended up on her phone calling her that day when they were sitting on the property of the motel and they had no money to go in. And she said they felt a little safer because they were in the car and they had a cover. And she said, as soon as I told my friend, she said she just started sending me change. And we got into the hotel, and I said to her, I said, did you notice the difference between your knees when you got from that car to that bed? And she said, you are so right. And I told her that's the only thing I was thinking of. I said, but at the time when you told me you were in the car, I thought about your dog because my friend has a dog. And I said, I see the way she love upon her dog. I said, so that dog rely on you for care. You think that dog want to be in the car all night, have to use the bathroom, want to run around and express, like that. I said, people don't think about the little things. But I can't take the crying voice across. And now I understand. But guess what? I'm happy for her. I absolutely walked away from, I'm like, bye. I'm like, wow, I can't believe how God revealed to me who was not for me. What? I can't. I cried, I think, fell yesterday, so of course I cried. I landed on my damn knees, but that was it. But my daughter saw me crying, and she said, "Mommy, what's the matter?" I said, "Baby, I'm happy." I said, every time I break down, I'm not breaking down because I'm sad. I said, sometimes I'm praying, sometimes God is talking to me. I said, baby, I had to listen. I had to listen. And then this girl said to me, she said, Shay, you are right. She said, because God made sure I was in that. I said, girl, you just need to know. I said, I don't want to hear nothing. I said, everybody is connected. We all have to look out for each other. I told her, I said, we do not choose who our family is, and your family is not DNA all the time. I told her, I said, God provides, and all she could sit down and do is cry. But I told her how she broke me when I heard how she was like talking about she was at the bottom. I said, baby, you're not at the bottom, but you know what makes me happy? The fact that I know I couldn't move in here. I didn't know I wouldn't be able to get my key without my rent, because normally I would move in and pay my rent on the day that it was due. This one, it wouldn't do it. And then when my friend said to me, you didn't know? I said, no, I never had to do that. And next thing you know, I pulled up here, and when I got out the car, my rent money was right in front of the building. That's why I tell you, honey, God provides. You have to stay still. You have to stay loyal. But I thank you, Lord, honey, because I was loyal to myself, honey. I locked down the cookie jar. I'm not playing in the sandbox with nobody. And now I'm sitting here like, I said my phone, I did get my phone yesterday from my friend, but I kid you not, I was praying on the way to her yesterday, because that girl, I don't know how, I will never understand how I met someone with a heart like mine, because she actually said how bad her body feel, but I told her, I watched you walk down the hall. I knew how your body feel, but I said to her, I said, I am so thankful you did not take my daughter home. She said, I wasn't taking your daughter home in my car. I'm like, huh? She said, I wasn't taking your daughter home. Not the way you were that. She said, no, I wasn't. You know, that girl is horrible. You hear me? I went in the car and I started laughing to my daughter. I said, she set me up. I said to her, make sure you don't leave the place without my daughter. Take my daughter home. She looked at me like she was in agreement the whole time. She had no intention of taking my. She said, I was not leaving you alone like that. I said, oh my goodness. All me and my daughter can do is laugh. I tell you no lie, my mom really, really appreciates her, because my mom always say, you don't know how your sisters will be. And I absolutely understand now why a person can feel someone is their sister that is not born to their parent. I truly understand this right here. This right here was a lesson, and it was a lesson for way longer than a year. But I kid you not, boys and girls, yesterday my phone rang, and I nipped it in the bud. It was like boom. It was like, what is it? I said, don't ever call back my phone. Boom, right on the line. I don't care. I don't give a. You hear me? I was driving, my phone rang. Answer the phone. My daughter, eyes. Yep, yep. I am not playing in sandbox. And you know what? There are a few people that I actually had access to in my last apartment who never stepped foot in here. Whether I talk to them talk to them on the phone or not, they will never step foot in here. That is just a given. You cannot ask God to help you and you turn around and go back to hell no. No, not even a chance. Nope. Mm-mm. Beverly, I like your last message, and thank you so much. And I still, like I said, I can't get into Facebook, and I'm not really worried. I don't even want to be on Facebook. I don't want to be on social networks at all, to be honest, because there's a lot of stuff going on. When I was listening to other people's videos and saw so many people struggling, I absolutely have that girl in that living room understanding why I went through so much of what I went through by myself. She was like, Mommy, how could you struggle like that and you don't tell me? I said, why should I tell you? I am the parent. You have to take care of yourself because if I'm not here, baby, you have to be able to take care of yourself. So I told her, you want to go back to work? If the job still let you go, take the car, go to work. I said, baby, get your paper, get your money, save up. I said, but you better stay out them damn stores. I said, because you like pretty things. I said, honey, I was willing to give up all of this. You hear me? For this zip code. That's it. And I said, I still didn't know if it was gonna. I said, you know how you say, the grass is not greener on the other side. I kept praying every day. I said, God, please prepare me for the grass is not always greener on. I don't know how you say it, but you know what I mean. I just kept saying, God, just prepare me because I could move from there to here and come here and find out there's something that I really can't deal with. But let me tell you something. Yesterday was Sunday, and I was through. I was like, oh my God, Sunday. The children, the room over there. Guess what? The only activity I heard Sunday was that laundromat. That going back and forth, people dragging at their laundry. That is the only thing I heard. And after that laundromat was closed, ha ha ha, and then maybe around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for the last couple of days, I may hear someone's coming home. But honey, who would not trade that in for what I just moved away from? And I will always say I am thankful for that building because I was sheltered, and that is the only thing that I will always hold on to. And I was there yesterday. Yep, I saw my next door neighbor, and she didn't notice me, but I mean, she had to notice me because my face was on my car, and she walked right by, and I walked right by. But when I was leaving, she was like, "Bye," and I felt. She was like, "I want to leave too," but honey, I lived in that building so long. No matter what I went through, she never came to my door, but I always was at hers. Kindness, kindness, kindness. But I kid you not. I am so thankful for who I am. I actually asked God 1,000 times to change me. I said, I don't belong in this world. I don't fit in this world. And then someone asked me recently, why do you think you don't belong here? I said, because there's not a lot of people like me. He was like, you belong here. You belong here. Just stay loyal. That's it. He said, you just want one thing. You just have this whatever way of thinking of life. He said, that's not going to happen here. He said, because people are struggling, people are trying to survive. But you know what I told my daughter? You don't have to step on somebody else's back to get it. I said, because not all money is good money, baby. I said, no, it is not. And now my daughter can actually see that YouTube is real. There are real people behind YouTube. My mom, yesterday I was talking to my daughter. I was talking about Beverly. A couple days ago, I was talking to my mom about Tina. Coral is like a fixed in. I might as well tattoo her, especially when it comes to me cooking and stuff. But when people hear me talking, they say, where are your friends? I say, on YouTube. I say, on YouTube. And they look at me like, you don't know who those people are. I said, you know what? Mm, I said, I'm done. I stop right there. When I tell you how beautiful it feels to know that y'all saw me go through this step by step, there was a lot of stuff, especially when I was falling. When I got in the bathtub this morning and I looked at my legs look horrible, boys and girls. The bruises from, but you know what? Each bruise, when I sat in that tub, I rubbed my bruise and I love myself. You know why? Because every bruise got me to what I already knew I was chasing. And I always say, don't chase that dollar. We need money to survive, pay our bills, food to eat, and everything. But yesterday, I absolutely just wanted something that I can actually cook. My freezer is down to the empty because mostly everything in the bottom of that freezer was freezer bar. So we can't cook that. And my daughter, we asked my mother yesterday, do you have something we can cook? But she only had certain foods, and I said, I can't stand my feet and cook that. And now I'm a little bit, I'm trying to see if I can get my daughter to cook on my channel because she is really happy now. She's not feeling the way she was feeling about YouTube. Even yesterday when I was gonna record and she was in the room, she said, "Go ahead." And when I went to the Dollar Tree, how happy she was. But we wanted to go to the Dollar Tree, but I took notice of one thing. She didn't want to go down there. She wanted to come up here. But I kid you not, when she comes here to take me home, it's so sad because she doesn't want to leave. And I said, baby, I can't get in trouble. I want to follow the rules. I said, and I understand completely. And then when she was coming, and then she just, and I could see that I understand now that she understands a lot. But I kid you not, I am so thankful for everyone who taught me how to be a parent and then break off that friend because my daughter needed a mother. She needed a mother. But yesterday, when I saw her standing at the counter, because she was home. I was here by myself, and then she came the next morning and she brought some food to cook. And you'll see the video. It uploaded this morning, and she was cooking, and I let her in the kitchen because my daughter, if she I can't go too much, but she doesn't want you in the kitchen when she cooking. Like me. But the only difference is she need the water. So, so I just let her do it. I came in here, and then she's like, you don't have to stay in there. It's okay. I'm just letting you do your own thing. And I kept saying I didn't want the fish. I'm not a fish eater. Stuff like that. Her and her father love fish. So I ate the fish. I'm like, fish is good. And, but then I went to sleep because I said, sweetie, I'm not really gonna eat no rice. I said, because rice would drop me to sleep. I said, I have whatever that thing. And as soon as I ate that little 3 tablespoons of rice, I was like, oh, pow, on that bed. So she said, oh, I see, mommy, you'll need more rice. I said, baby, you have to listen to me tell you. But I'm gonna see what happens. Because I tell you, but I told her, I feel so much better, so much better. King, I want to say hello. Thank you. And you know what? My nephew's name is King. I haven't seen my nephew maybe in about 2 years. And I told my daughter yesterday I have to figure out what I'm gonna do for him because he needs something. And I'm so thankful that I didn't even realize that I left pictures on the wall, everything, my whole boys and girls before I got in here. My whole head was just like, that was way beyond overwhelming. And I kid you not, if I had remembered where my birth certificate was, I would have threw it all in the garbage. I would have came here with nothing. I would have been on a towel on this floor, and I would have still been okay. But I kid you not, yesterday when I went in that closet and I saw those hangers that I put in a bag, and I said, I don't want these. These are not coming with me. And then I saw that my friends put them damn hangers in there. I'm looking, it's not supposed to be here. And I'm so thankful because when we ended up going across the hall to do the laundry, and the machine was $2 for a nice size machine. I said, $2? She said, I said, well, I can use this. So already I'm on Brookville Lane. So I said, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's a whole month of laundry, and we're gonna come right up in here and I'm gonna hang my stuff up. But I kid you not, one of the things that bothered me was the fact that my daughter didn't want me to use the kitchen rags. She wanted me to throw them away. She wanted me to use a sponge. Some people like cloth, some people like sponge, but I said, baby, just don't throw none of my stuff out. She got up. She went and got it, threw it in the thing, and walked right to the garbage. And I walked away and I said, oh my God, is this how hoarding feels? But it's just that I'm accustomed to, my rags. So she did leave some, the ones that that she realized were new and didn't have that. I don't know what it is, but I told her, I said, Charisma, you can't really get the smell out of those rags when it's oil in it. She said, walk right to the girl. I said, mm-mm. She said, I'll buy you some new rags. So what do we want to do? And I told her, I just want to go like to Target. Target has really good washcloths for like low. I want to go to Target and get those wash rags, cloths, But I went to Walmart a couple days ago and I already bought the Walmart rags and they're not good, especially if you put them, in a cycle. But when we went to Walmart, I was looking for a laundry hanging rack, and then I said, no, I can't do it because of the gas. And then my daughter was like, Mommy, we need something to eat. I said, baby, I want a meal. I don't want in this little jumping in this chicken place. I can't do that. I want something that make me feel like I ate. So we stopped and we got something to eat. But to know we have to stop and gas up and stop and gas up. Now she's like, oh, and I'm like, So, but I really wish I could do something for her birthday. She's one of those people that want to celebrate her birthday for the whole month. And I'm like, oh, but I told her I'm not going to feel bad at all, because I know what I can't do, and that's it. But I do know there's no way she's not going to be here for her birthday unless she's outside somewhere else. But I have noticed that she really wants to be with me. So even though I only have one room, I'm gonna make sure I find a way to where she feels welcome. I'm not gonna. I did tell her. I said, babe, Mommy need her space. I need quiet time. And she understands. But one of my things is the fact that I can see now that I've been fighting. Because even yesterday when I picked up my mother was in the car, and before I picked her up, she called and she said, "It is so nice to hear you and her bonding, But it was a hard road. It's really hard when your child see you in pain like that. But my friend that I talked to, she said, I have to learn how to accept my new life. And I told her, I said, when you wake up and you realize that, and then she said, all she kept saying is that God is good and God is merciful, because she had no way of understanding how she was going to get it. She said she would never have asked me to do that. And I said to her, I said, when I told her I couldn't get in here and how I ended up getting my key, she said, for real? And I could hear when she started to like get sad. I said, we are not having that. I said, 'cause you know what I would do, right? I would, She said, ah, she started laughing. That's what you need, to laugh sometimes. To laugh. Sometimes you just have to laugh through the storm, boy. But when you reach out and let people know, and then she's like, I love your place and stuff. I said, girl, can you hear the train? I, mm, oh man, Lord have mercy. And I kid you not, y'all already know how I was overheated in that other place. But I kid you not, you're not supposed to live with that kind of heat. Now this is cold. I'm not gonna lie, but this is not cold enough that you feel your breath. It's not that kind of cold. It's just that little cold that get in your bones and make you shiver. But it's not that cold that you can't get under the cover. But when I got out the shower today, I said, honey, Mama needs some long pants. I'm gonna have to find me some long pajamas down in my bottom. I'm gonna get hot in a minute, but it's okay. Oh my goodness, what's it called? You see me sliding this chair, right? I don't want to be sliding over anybody's head, but I wonder if I should at least venture off to ask, can they hear anything down there? I don't want to be a nuisance to anyone. Absolutely not. But I'm gonna say thank you to everyone. I can't believe I just did that, but it's okay. see. Mm. Oh, I cannot believe I am almost done with my loan. I cannot believe it. Oh, I tell you, honey, determination and sacrifice. Those are some beautiful words. Yes, that was a sneeze. I'm gonna I really and truly have to sit here. It's 5. I'm just gonna sit in this chair and just. I can't. There's not really much you could do in the nighttime, when everybody else is asleep. But thank you so much. Have a good day.